In this video, we're talking about Socrates in just 5 minutes. Who was he? Why is he considered one of the most influential thinkers in history? And why was he sentenced to death for asking questions? Socrates never wrote a single book, yet his ideas changed the world. He was a man who walked the streets of Athens, challenging everyone, politicians, poets, even the gods, with his relentless questioning. But his search for truth came at a cost. By the end of this video, you'll understand why Socrates' legacy still matters today, and how his method of thinking can transform the way you see the world. Ready to dive in? Let's go! Socrates was born in Athens around 470 BC. He wasn't rich, noble, or particularly handsome. In fact, he was famously described as having a flat nose and bulging eyes. But what he lacked in appearance, he made up for in wit. He was an ordinary man, the son of a stonemason and a midwife, yet from a young age, he showed an insatiable curiosity for knowledge. But here's the twist. Socrates didn't claim to be wise. Instead, he famously said, "All I know is that I know nothing." This humility became the foundation of his method. Asking questions, challenging assumptions, even questioning himself. Socrates wasn't a philosopher who wrote books or gave lectures. He didn't leave behind any writings. Everything we know about him comes from his students, especially Plato. He was a street philosopher, engaging with anyone willing to talk, merchants, soldiers, politicians. And he didn't just talk. He asked questions, uncomfortable questions. What is justice? What is virtue? What does it mean to live a good life? His conversations weren't about winning arguments, but about uncovering deeper truths. Picture this. A young Athenian approaches Socrates, confident he knows what courage is. Socrates listens, then asks a simple question. What is courage? The young man answers, but Socrates isn't satisfied. With more questions, he reveals gaps in the young man's understanding, showing that his definition is incomplete, even contradictory. This is the Socratic method, a dialogue that doesn't provide answers but leads to truth through questioning. It's not about winning. It's about understanding. This method wasn't just revolutionary. It was dangerous. Socrates questioned everyone. Politicians, poets, craftsmen, even the gods. In a society where tradition and religion were sacred, asking uncomfortable questions was seen as a threat. But Socrates didn't back down. He believed that the unexamined life is not worth living. Know thyself, he said, because only by questioning ourselves can we find truth. But every story has its turning point. The same method that made Socrates famous also led to his downfall. In 399 BC, he was put on trial, accused of corrupting the youth in impiety, not believing in the gods of Athens. In reality, it was a political trial. Socrates had criticized the powerful and made enemies. During his defense, he didn't apologize. Instead, he declared that his mission was to awaken the Athenians, like a gadfly stinging a lazy horse. The verdict was clear: guilty. The sentence? Death by drinking hemlock. His friends offered to help him escape, but Socrates refused. He believed in the laws of the city, even when they condemned him. In his final hours, surrounded by his students, he drank the hemlock calmly. "The hour of departure has arrived," he said. "I go to die, and you to live. Which is better? Only the gods know." Socrates died, but his legacy never faded. Through Plato and others, his ideas spread across the world. Today, more than 2,000 years later, we're still asking his questions. What is justice? What is virtue? What does it mean to live a good life? Socrates taught us that truth isn't something you possess, it's something you seek. And sometimes, the questions are more important than the answers. So the next time you face a doubt, remember Socrates. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to challenge the status quo. Because, as he showed us, critical thinking is the path to wisdom. And that, my friend, is the true legacy of Socrates.